I'd like to call the St. John Park Board to order. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Tyler.
Mike Bovat.
Here.
Mike Moffitt.
Here.
John Boersma absent. Pat Connolly.
Here.
Tyler McLeod present. Nicole Bennett.
Present.
Mike Aurelio.
Here.
Joe Wizawati.
Present.
Also present Wayne Pondinas and Russell Vogel, Park Maintenance.
Would like to look at new business, town council liaison discussion, amended E, and well, I'm going to move forward.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
And we're going to make an amendment to the agenda, and we'd like to table that. So if we can consider tabling the town council liaison discussion and the amendment to it. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to table that.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffitt and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. Number 4, approval of minutes for Tuesday, February 15th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as posted.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffitt and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Number 5, new business. A, review of the Gates Playground proposal. Mr. Tyler?
Yeah, so our contractor, he's going to be attending virtually here pretty soon. He's not on there yet, but he should be here shortly, so we might just
Okay.
bounce to the next one here.
That's fine. We can go to B, consider 2022 Kyleman Field lease agreement.
Yeah, so the Kyleman Field lease agreement, this is the ball field on the southwest side of Civic Park that the town leases every year. St. John Youth Baseball pays the annual property taxes on the field as part of the agreement, but we enter into the lease agreement with the property owner. So this is an annual agreement that's normally approved in time for ball season every year.
Okay. Well, we want to see him play ball, so consider approval of the lease agreement for Kyleman.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2022 Common Field lease agreement.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffitt and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you. C, consider ordinance creating park memorial bench and tree fund.
So, yeah, this is an ordinance establishing the Park Memorial Bench and Tree Fund. We approved these programs last month. The ordinance establishes a fund specifically for those programs. And it's going to be ordinance number 1759. And what this would do, if we could get a motion for a favorable recommendation, and then it would be sent to the town council for approval at their next meeting.
Yeah, I looked over that, Tyler, and I think it looks pretty good to me as far as like what you put together here. Any comments, gentlemen, on?
I think it looks good.
I think it looks good. Let's get it going.
Okay, consider the approval of the ordinance to create the Park Memorial Bench and Tree Fund.
Is that how we have to word it, or did you say something about a favorable recommendation?
Favorable recommendation.
recommend.
Motion to recommend. And if you could say 1759 too, the number with it, that'd be helpful.
Okay,
Is that the ordinance number, Tyler, or the fund number?
The ordinance number.
consider ordinance number 1759 for the memorial for the Tree and Bench Fund.
So moved.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffett and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Item 6, old business, A, the Gates Skate Park. Mr. Tyler?
No, you missed item D there under new business, Mike.
Okay, I apologize. Item D, consider approval of independent contractor agreements.
So this is our first batch of programs and instructors to approve for this spring and summer. There'll be additional agreements at next month's meeting. Have a few pending agreements I'm sorting out with those instructors, but these are ones that are ready to approve for this evening.
Consider approval of the independent contractor agreements for 2022.
So moved.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffett and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Now we'll go to item 6, old business, A, Gates Skate Park.
So I unfortunately did not receive an update from the contractor at press time here. The most recent target schedule we have shows a late March mobilization and earthwork. Again, that's a schedule we received last September. So I know that that company, along with several others, are finalizing their spring schedules and remobilization plans. So did not have that for this evening, but we'll hopefully have some action there by next month.
I think the weather's really getting up there. And initially, they had kind of indicated probably late March, isn't that correct?
That's right. Yep.
And then when we look at that, Tyler, what was their overall, if you could kind of maybe refresh, like when do you think they were expected to finish that?
So that target schedule showed a late June, early July completion date.
With starting in March?
Was starting in late March. That's right.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move to old business B, Founder's Park.
So I wanted to mention to the board our information for the reimbursement process for the DNR grant has been sent to the state, or will be sent to the state this week. If you recall, we received a $250,000 reimbursement grant for that project. And that's another item we're waiting to receive an updated target construction schedule from them as well. But again, that should be, as soon as the weather breaks here, we still should see some action at the park.
And again, if you could kind of refresh my memory, like what are they saying for the expected completion on that one too? Maybe?
That one, the most recent one we had, showed about a Memorial Day completion date. It's
Yeah, because they've got a lot involved there, so.
right.
Okay. 6, old business C, facility assessment discussions.
So I'm in the process of obtaining proposals for a facility assessment for Suncrest Church. And this would be a full-scale assessment of the building that would assess, the building and the site conditions. But one piece of that proposal would include a preliminary cost analysis of the two options that the town could have, whether it be an adaptive reuse of Suncrest Church, where that process would establish that total project budget. And then the option B could be a new construction on the 40-acre parcel that's been discussed here a few times. It would have, as close to apples as we can get, a similar square footage, similar amenities. So that we received one proposal from one firm. We're in the process of receiving a second. But the process to receive those does take some time. There's some site meetings involved, the passing of blueprints back and forth. So hopefully by next month we would have those two options for the board to consider.
That'd be great. Like I said, I know there's a big concern with the community center and what direction we're going to go and how we're going to move forward. So that's outstanding. Moving to 7, reports and correspondence from the staff.
Yeah, I wanted to just touch on a few of the seasonal positions we have. We're advertising for a farmer's market assistant right now. That position will assist the market manager with all market-related operations. The hours are 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so just on Sundays, just the market operation hours, and it pays $17.45 an hour. We're accepting applications until Friday, April 1st. And just a quick update on the market, we already have 8 new vendors on board this season, so we currently have a waiting list for vendors, so that's going well.
That's excellent.
Also, I'm happy to report we have several seasonal staff members returning, and we're still determining how many summer positions are going to be available. We have a good crew coming back there.
Yeah, I think those guys really enjoyed it the last time around. Good workers.
And also, I wanted to mention our egg hunt, which is Saturday, April 9th at Lake Hills Park. We're doing 2 hunts at 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. There's still space available for the afternoon hunt. It only took about 2 days for the morning one to fill up. And I want to thank the Lake Central National Honor Society. They provided about 20 volunteers for us to help organize that event.
Awesome. Anything else, Mr. Tyler? Moving on to 7B, board members. Any comments? Tyler?
I mentioned last month about that, possibly getting a memorial bench for Founders Park for the original. Did we look into that or talk to him, see if he'd be interested in that? Or
Yeah, I should have mentioned, so I already had 2 potential donors interested in placing a bench at Prairie West Park. Now that we have, this fund will be established, we'll be able to do that. I'll contact them tomorrow, but I can also contact Mr. Allen. I saved his contact information and run that idea by him as well.
and I think that'd be something we pay for. as
We
the Parks
could
Department,
do that. I mean, we're already going to buy benches for that property, so it's part of the site furnishing, so that's something we could do, yes. Yeah.
I like that idea. I think that's really good.
That's all I have.
Anything yet, Tyler, for the gentleman with the parks?
No.
Okay. 7C, Town Council Liaison, Mr. Aurelio.
Thank you. Couple things. County level, county has a significant amount of money available to us through their ARPA program. So we're in conversation with both of our councilmen in District 4 and 7. And we're going to pursue those dollars. I know the one project that we are going to talk about shortly has significant cost. We're going to see what we can do to maybe get some of those funds for this park coming up. Wouldn't that be great to be able to go with the best option? You know, so we're active at that. I want to thank Tyler for pursuing the community center and vetting the consultants for we can move that big project forward, both for Suncrest and for the 40 acres. I'm excited about that. You know, looking forward to working through that that process. Appreciate that. And that's it. That's what I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that.
Well, maybe one last thing. So I had brought to my attention that we have a Lake Central, they're called the Central Ets. So, and I was not aware of them until today, but I should have been. They have won the state championship 27 years in a row for Indiana. Is anybody else here aware of that?
Yes.
I think it's just amazing. Is that great or
They
what?
won national championship 2 weeks ago.
And they won the national championship this year as well. So, and that was with 300 teams competing, 300. So maybe a discussion, I don't know if it was here or the council level, to just honor them, you know, and, you know, that's, I think is just incredible. So, and maybe pursue, maybe, you know, you had those nice signs that commemorate when you win the, you know, the state championship for football. I think that an honor to them is due. So I'd like to kind of pursue that and talk about that as well. I just think that's an incredible achievement. So,
Definitely. Is that sign still by in front of Lake Central? There used to be a sign there that said, like, there was softball champs one year.
that's right. It is there,
that.
but isn't that like 1995?
It's old, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it's old.
The sign's old, maybe
Right. So
update it.
this is 27 years in a row, right? And then we're
Right.
going to put a dot, 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 because whatever year we put there, there's probably be more years after that, right? So maybe we can have the sign design, we're going to hook on more dates. So wouldn't that be great?
That's outstanding. It's incredible. Thank you for that. Tyler, we're going to have to move forward. Number 8, payment of the bills. Consider payment of the bills in the amount of $72,208.50.
I'll make a motion to accept the bills, the bills for $72,208.50.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffett and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Number 9, public comments. Any public comments? And sir, if you could just state your name and your address, please?
Dale Roberts, 11990 Heron Lake Road.
Thank you.
I was going to say a lot of other things, but the only thing I want to bring up, I think Aurelio should resign from this board, and Wayne put in it just like all the people want and the board wanted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments tonight? And Jerry, just before you comment, I just have a question, if anybody has knowledge, because I don't, but in the capacity of having 3 town council members here, is it okay for someone to speak, or how does that? Are we in compliance with all rules and regulations?
Under strict interpretation, obviously they have 3 council member present in one place gathering information. It is on its face, a meeting. However, with there not being action taken by the council or any vote or anything that could result from this meeting, because obviously it's a meeting of the park board and not the council, there isn't any harm that would be caused.
So we're clean. All right, thank you. If you could just give us your name and your address, please?
Gerald Swets, 9490 Joliet Street.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to attend the board meeting today just to see, I know you guys had a lot of stuff that you're working on, and I was kind of anxious to see some of the projects you're working on. But I also wanted to do 2 things. One is kind of give an answer to the questions that have come up from the board members about, trying to reassign Wayne over to this, being the liaison and things like that. And I just wanted to let you know that the council has decided that Mike Aurelio will be the liaison to this board. And I would hope that you'd be able to continue to work with Mike Aurelio. I mean, he's a businessman. He lives in St. John. He's a successful businessman. So, I mean, he knows how to plan. He knows how to handle budgets. I think he can be a very benefit to this branch and to the organization. And I would think that by continuing to replace him or trying to replace him with someone else is kind of insulting his ability to work. And I would just ask you, as a board, do you plan to go forward, work with Mr. Aurelio?
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. Jerry, appreciate your comments, and that will be duly noted. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And just so everyone's aware, I mean, this board here is 100% in favor of working together. That's our goal. We've always been about that. There's never been anything on this board about not working with anyone. Our only concern was we had someone that was a phenomenal asset, that was extremely committed, very involved, and very dedicated, and we just wanted his participation, but that was rejected. And, we felt a little insulted by that, but we're working together, and we will continue to work together, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Any other comments? All right, thank you for that. Mr. Tyler, do we,
We can go back up to item A, that's fine. I can start there, and if Chuck gets here in time, then we'll get his input as well.
okay, Mr. Tyler is going to try and save the day here. Item A, review of the Gates Playground proposals.
He did accept the invitation, so I know he got it.
Yes, but we weren't able to hook up. And Mr. Tyler, if you have any,
So Chuck is a town councilman in Munster. That's one of his duties, and their park board meeting was tonight as well, and they're working through a few issues, so.
Trying to be in two places at once.
Right. So, okay, but yeah, we'll start. So we met with Chuck a few weeks ago to discuss some ideas for this playground at the Gates. And then he presented 3 conceptual designs based on that meeting for us to review this evening. So he included a variety of features in each one, so we can kind of pick and choose elements or play pieces we like, and then maybe combine them into one design eventually. After reviewing these this evening at the staff level, option 1, what you're looking at right now, that was kind of speaking to us. That we already have a few modifications in mind. Jason, can you go to option 3 real quick? Oh, go back. So at the bottom there, you see that sensory wall at the right there. So that we think would be a really cool piece. We've discussed. We've had a few discussions recently here to include more inclusive, to have more inclusive equipment for all ages and abilities. We think that would be a nice addition. Again, I think the goal here is to try to incorporate or to build a playground that complements the other equipment we have in our park system, and to try not to duplicate too many pieces. The zip crews you see, if you go back up to option 1, Jason. Yeah, that's not good. There you go. So that we feel like is going to be a statement type piece. Chuck did in the back there, yeah. So Chuck did tell me they have a similar piece in Griffith that you just can't keep kids off it. It's so popular. With that being the skate park being on the east side of that property, we think having like an adventure themed piece would kind of fit with the theme there at the park. And it also includes, like I had mentioned, several inclusive pieces as well. You see ramp access to the main, the main play booster piece right there. But again, there's three designs. They all have different elements, and we could all kind of pick and choose different pieces that we like to incorporate into this.
Where would that wall go in here? What were you thinking?
Yeah, we would probably have to remove. So you see the at the far right, Jason, that little right there. So that's a piece we already have at Prairie West. So when I mentioned try not to duplicate pieces, he could remove that and add something there we don't already have. But all this can be resituated. He can send it to his designer and to find ways to fit additional pieces that would be within the fall zones and safety, requirements.
yeah, I was going to comment, Tyler, the zip line apparatus. I know, take my kids to St. Joseph, Michigan. They have that at Silver Beach. All the kids love that. And I think I haven't seen anything like that around here. That zip line, that would be.
We have a much smaller version of that at Lantern View, but it's not nearly as impressive as what we're looking at here.
I think in the climbing too, didn't you have another one that had some of the climbing? Is there another version?
Yeah, so all the climbing apparatuses are really popular these days. Jason, if you go to option 2, yeah, you see a few of them right there.
I know those are popular.
Right, and option 3 has a really impressive one. It's kind of a central piece.
Yeah.
That looks like a lot of fun.
With the shade structures, yeah.
And could you go back one? Like, what about this swing here, Tyler?
That's a piece we also identified that it's called an Omnispin, or no, it's called an Oodle Swing, but we like that as well. You know, that's a newer piece that they are putting out, and it's very popular. Again, we don't have one of those currently. That's accessible to all. It's an accessible piece as well. But we think that would be a nice piece.
And then what are we looking as far as the time frame, do you think, if we get initiated on this?
Yeah, so I think for the April meeting, if we could have some like firmed up plans in place, and then if we get an idea on like a finalized design at that meeting, then we can probably I would suggest scheduling a special meeting after that, just to approve of a contract and to keep the ball rolling here. He told me that right now they got about a 6 to 8 week lead time for their equipment. So if you look at a mid-April approval, that would probably put us in the time frame of the skate park being complete. So if we could have those two projects coincide with each other, I think that would be great.
I'm just gonna, Mr. Aurelio, you said ARP money or something from the county. Any idea how many millions we would get?
Multiple millions for sure. So it would be significant. Now, it wouldn't be likely would not be earmarked exactly for something like this, but I think that we could try and we could actively lobby to have it there. So, and I think we're going to try to do that. Mid-April, we're going to find out tomorrow what the timeline is for all that, and I would think that we'll have a very, very good idea in the next couple weeks
About how
what'll
much
be
you could-
available, and but my feeling is this would be included. We could do something here.
Okay, and Mr. Tyler, can you do we have an idea of what we're looking at, maybe general cost on one of these?
Yeah, so the proposals for this, and again, he included some pretty impressive designs for us to look over here to kind of, again, pick and choose some of the elements we like. All of these designs are over our budget. We had earmarked $230,000 for this project prior to this year. Now, again, we can go over the budget for this particular project as long as we stay within our overall capital budget for the year. So I think, there's some wiggle room there. We would just have to kind of review some of the other projects we had targeted. But again, my recommendation at the start of this was to treat this park like it's going to be our, if you want to call it the Prairie West Park of the east side of town. All the growth on that side of town. We need an impressive park there.
We do.
So
We do. And I was just going to comment about 2 weeks ago. I do have grandchildren, and we went to Prairie West Park. And I don't know if any of you can remember this, but when you go to a park, you have to run to everything you're going to play on. I mean, you can't walk. And the kids that were out there, and as soon as they got off one thing, I mean, it's not going anywhere, but they're running. They are running. And about 2 weeks ago, Tyler, I mean, that Prairie West was packed. It was awesome. If we could have something similar to that on the east side, that would be phenomenal. That would be outstanding. So I think we have tremendous proposals here, and we can just button this down and move it forward. And anything else you'd like to add? Any other comments, gentlemen? Or?
I have a quick question, just for I have a little clarity. So I know the total budget is $230,000. What do you think is really earmarked to this particular park? Just for you have a general idea, if we're pursuing these funds, how much more we need? And I know you're not going to know the exact figure, just general idea.
yeah, so if you look at the proposals, they don't include installation, but I think these range from including the port and play surface and all the equipment, I think between $330 and $360 in that range. So
we might need another $100,000 to $130,000.
right, and that was around the price range for Prairie West Park, if you want to use that as a comparison.
Okay. Because I agree, it would be great to have a, a premier park, another premier park on the other end of town, there's no doubt. Thank you.
And I should mention, Founder's Park, that's, going to help, it's primarily going to serve the Three Springs subdivision, obviously, with it being connected right there,
Right.
but it's going to help serve the east side of town as well. We're working on increasing the connectivity of that park. I believe the developer's going to put in some sidewalks that'll help connect it to the gates. The town is going to assist in those efforts too, to connect it to that side of town.
Awesome. All right. I think that's probably it then.
So I think what we'll do, I apologize, gentlemen. Chuck was trying to be here two places at once,
No,
but
that's not a problem.
we'll firm up some of these plans. Like I said, at the staff level, we have a pretty good idea. We had a lot of ideas we were throwing back and forth today. I think we can look to firm up, some proposals and have them in time for next month's meeting.
Would it be necessary to maybe have the park board have a special meeting?
I can,
maybe
yeah, let me
before?
talk. Yeah, let me talk to Chuck and see, how soon he could potentially get some new designs together for us to.
If we could do
consider.
that, then the park board maybe could, set up just one special meeting, just go over that, and then we can nail it down.
Sure. I'd go for that.
What are the updated virtual rules? There's nothing, no change?
No, you no longer can hold virtual.
You no longer can do it.
Once
Okay.
was it 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, when the governor had ended the emergency. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that was an ordinance that the town had passed. Jason, you recall?
No, we did. We did pass an ordinance that matched the state requirements for allowing virtual meetings.
For the electronics meeting policy?
Yes. It was passed last July.
Correct, it's by statute. But no, I was, Dave and I actually just talked about, we were under the impression that had not been passed, but it was.
I'm pretty sure it was.
So then you default to that, which then allows for, more than 50%, so it would, of the board, so it would require, at least, throughout everything, 3 people
yeah.
have to be in person at every single meeting. One person could be remote, but, each individual themselves can only serve in the remote capacity, up to half of the meetings for the year, and that's meetings that are held, not meetings that are scheduled. So if you operate on the theory of 1 a month, assuming they're all held, then you could be virtual for 6 of those. However, you cannot be virtual for more than 2 in a row. There's exceptions to that, emergency, your own illness, death, family, things of that situation that allow above and beyond that exception. But otherwise, we're not allowed to proceed where, everyone's virtual.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Anything else, Tyler?
Yeah, I wanted to mention, I should have included this under old business. We discussed last month the Civic Park lighting controls.
Yes.
We're working to upgrade those. There were some inconsistencies with the quotes we received, and it looks like the 3 proposals we did receive are going to be put us well over our budget for that park this year for any park-related improvements at Civic especially. This was something that we didn't foresee us having to address this year, but now that we know about it, it's something we want to get taken care of because we do think it presents a safety issue. As Pat, being an electrician, you can probably attest to, but so that's something I'll talk to Mr. Aurelio or the council to see if an additional appropriation would be possible to get that project done, because it's something that's very much needed right now.
Absolutely. I know with the safety aspect of it, like you said, Patrick, you would understand that, so. All right. I would just like to comment too that
Sure.
I appreciate everybody that came out tonight. I appreciate all the support for the St. John Park Board. We got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of things coming down the pipe, And as Tyler has mentioned, the community is growing, and we appreciate everybody's support. And hopefully we accomplish the task and the goals we have before us. So thank you for that. Consider adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
That's a motion by Mike Moffett and a second by Pat Connolly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?